So you want to get more mobility. Well, today we are conquering Pnf stretching. This is the big one. We're into the final week of our 10 favorite stretching tools, and we're rolling out the 4 most advanced methods. All that and more coming up right after this. We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image. Hey, in case we haven't met, my name is Yanni Baumeister. To my right is my brother Rad, and together with Richie behind the camera and Cal shooting Instagram stories. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, you should have. We are Unity Gym, the gym that teaches you how to move and nourish instead of diet and exercise. We have saved the best till last. This is the 4 probably methods of stretching that we prefer to use the most. They are by far the most advanced, and they are certainly not for the faint-hearted. We do recommend that if you're new to stretching, that you do try the prior 6 methods: basic mobility, active mobility, passive and static stretching, dynamic stretching, before you attempt any of these. But this is where the biggest gains have come for us. What do you think, Rad?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these were the newest methods that I'd never learnt before until recent years that made a massive change for me.
Yep. When we started out in PT, probably the most advanced stretch that you get taught is Pnf stretching, which we're covering today.
That was 15 years ago.
That was 15 years ago.
We don't know what it's like now.
But still, look, I'm doing a little bit of research for this show today, because there are a variety of Pnf stretches, which we will go through the most common ones today. But most people only use one of them and have labelled that Pnf stretching, but there are actually quite a few different techniques for Pnf stretching, and we wanted to kind of show you as much as we could. But when you look on when you ask Dr. Google, it still says that Pnf stretching is widely considered the most effective type or method of stretching to increase range of motion. It certainly isn't. It certainly isn't as effective as some of the other methods we're going to show you this week. And I think the reason why they still label it as the most effective is because the MOILs and FRC are fairly new concepts.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pnf, I mean, so many of these things, if you go back 10 years ago, these things were really all so different from each other, but these days, people like us and other people that are, that have been doing this kind of thing for longer than we have, there's been enough time that people are blending these things together into their, so something that we're going to talk about on Wednesday, functional range conditioning. That was a real eye-opener for me, but a lot of it is, similar to Pnf stretching. Like it takes principles,
yeah. That's right. And that's probably what we should make clear. The remaining 4 of these methods are all combining. They all have one similarity, which is that they combine a form of muscular contraction with a form of muscular stretch.
Yep.
And sorry, go on.
Well, I love something that Ido Portal says, because he is that dude has more skin in the game than anyone that I've met. He has traveled the world and worked with practitioners from everywhere, and I've heard him say this a couple of times. He says there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that, because the truth is nothing that we are teaching anyone is new. It's just that we've put it together better than anybody else ever has before into a program that's better than anything that anybody else has done before. But none of it's new.
Taken directly from our Google reviews, not our opinions. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but we didn't invent any of this stuff. We've learnt it, but we've taken the things that we think are the best, and we've been able to identify what people need on their stages of the journey in a way that connects with them, that causes people to say that what we do is the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And on that note, quickly, a massive shout out to all of those of you who have taken the time to give us a Google review, who have done either our Foundation Movement System online program or the 18-minute stretch routine or one of our mobility programs. My God, it's life-changing what you guys are doing for us. So we are humbled, and we are quite shocked really at how successful these programs have become. But it's very humbling to see you guys share your story and your experiences, so thank you very much. Should we go out? Very quickly, I'll just quickly list off the 4. So, as I said, the majority of what we're going to do this week is, I believe, some form or hybrid variation of Pnf stretching. Pnf stretching stands for Proprioceptive Neuromuscular Facilitation, and it is basically combining contraction with stretching. Now, we're going to show you 4 of the most common variations of Pnf stretching out there on the gym floor today, which still falls directly under that banner. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, we're going to show you versions tomorrow we're showing you where we start to use eccentrics and slightly different contractions using external load, progressive loaded mobility, or PLM as we've called it. And then we're going to show you FRC, functional range control, and MOILs, which is
maximum overcoming isometric load.
Yeah, but they're all using MOILs uses external load as well. So does FRC. And they're really, really good, really effective. And some of them we are only beginners in
FRC
as well.
I actually don't think FRC uses external load. I don't think I've ever
Well,
seen.
they squeeze external load. They
don't. They pull themselves into their end range. They don't use an external load.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Not on the muscle area, but I've seen them holding kettlebells, and we've done that before, where we're squeezing a kettlebell to create contraction.
Enough, yeah.
We use a contraction assist, okay? We hold something to help irradiate muscle contraction through the central nervous system. We do things like that, but yes, Rad's right. You're not applying an external load to the area that's being worked on directly. Okay, that's it the gym floor. Richie should be set up, and we'll go out. Rad's going to be my model again today. I apologise in advance to Rachel Eastwood-Stone. Rad has not warmed up properly this morning, but for what we're demonstrating today, he doesn't really need to be totally warmed up. Let's start over here on the bench. So I've promised that I'm going to show you three stretches that we use Pnf stretching for, that we've found it very effective. The first one is for the rotator cuff muscle. Now, very importantly, what I will say is when we're treating the rotator cuff, we have 2 movements that we treat. We have internal rotation and we have external rotation, otherwise known as IR and ER. Now, we don't usually use, and I haven't seen it done before, for safety reasons, we don't use Pnf stretching or contract relax or contract hold, relax hold Pnf stretching on external rotation, purely because it's just a vulnerable position to put the shoulder in, but we certainly use it on internal rotation. So what we're going to do here is, and these are the first methods. We have what's called isometric Pnf. Isometric Pnf is where if I find a stretch for Rad, then I'm just going to get him to tense the muscles in his shoulder, put contraction in the muscles in his shoulder. He doesn't have to resist me. All he has to do is tense his arm in that stretch, and then we relax. And that is an isometric Pnf stretch. That's the most basic form of Pnf stretch, where he's not creating a concentric contraction against me, but he is contracting the muscles and then putting them, and after putting them into a stretch. Now, contract relax is where he's going to now create a concentric contraction and resist against. I'm going to put my hand here, and he's going to resist against my force. So he's concentrically contracting, and we hold that for around 5 to 10 seconds. Then he relaxes, and I take him deeper into a stretch. Okay? We're holding that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Now what I'm doing here is I'm using my knee to support his arm to keep him at the right level, and then I'm also just localizing his humerus in that shoulder joint there, in the glenohumeral joint, so that he doesn't get a lot of movement inside the joint capsule there, because that can feel quite uncomfortable. We'll do it one more time. So he's concentrically contracting, and then he's relaxing. That's contract, relax. Now I'll just back that off, and we'll do a couple of external rotations. Now when I do the external rotation, I'm actually pulling about 10 grams of force on his shoulder, and that is really just to distract the joint, to decompress the joint a little bit so that we don't get nerve entrapment or nerve impingement in there. There is a very complex brachioradial nerve stem coming through the neck, chest and shoulder, and it branches out into 3 primary nerves that facilitate feedback and force through the arm, the medial, ulnar and radial nerve stems. And we want to make sure that they're just all nicely decompressed through that shoulder joint, because there's a very big junction of muscle coming through there. It's a very used joint. Okay, so we might do the next one on the other side. If you just go around and reposition yourself. What have I got in order of appearance here? So we've done hold, relax, we've done contract, relax. We're going to do contract, relax with agonist contraction now.
Oh, let's do a different stretch.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep. Okay, so Rad's going to demonstrate which one. What are you doing here?
Butterfly.
The butterfly stretch, okay. Rad's going to demonstrate the butterfly stretch for the hips and groin, and we're doing, this one is contract, relax with antagonist contraction. So instead of just doing the concentric contraction here, he's going to,
we can demonstrate 2 of them here. We can demonstrate the concentric contraction one as well.
Yep. Do you want to do that first?
I'll do that first.
Yep. So Rad's going to actually do the contract, relax on this one first. Contract, relax, similar to hold, relax technique, is basically a passive stretch. He holds that for 20 seconds, and then he's going to contract. The difference between the contract, relax and the hold, relax is that in the contract, relax technique, the muscle is contracted concentrically. So it shortens, that's right. So you can see there he's resisting against the dumbbells, and then he's going back into a passive stretch or a loaded stretch there. Relaxing though is the important part. Now he's resisting against the dumbbells again, and then he's going to relax into that passive stretch again.
All right, now I'll do contract, relax. So just explain to them that now when I do it, contract, relax, antagonist contract, just explain to them that now when I do the contract, I'm going to push down so that I can't actually move.
Yep, okay. So now when he's doing his contraction, his muscular contraction, he is applying force downward on those dumbbells so that he's not actually able to move.
Now
So
I'm tensing my glutes.
Now he's tensing his glutes, which is the agonist, or the antagonist of that joint. So it's the opposing muscles that he's tensing. Now he's contracting again, pushing against the dumbbells, but he's applying enough force that there's 0 movement. And this is quite important to understand.
Now I'm contracting the glutes again.
Unlike the previous stretch where he was allowing a concentric contraction where there was movement, now he's not allowing that. So it's a static contraction. It's an isometric contraction. Then he repeats the cycle about 4 or 5 times, contracting the antagonist, which is the glutes, the opposing muscles to the adductors. And there we go. Beautiful. So let's do, can you show one for, well, we'll just demonstrate a straight up hamstring. So if you lie on the ground, and we'll do, this is a partner stretch, but you can use a wall. It's just not quite as easy to do. Or you could use like a pylon where you line yourself up with the relaxed leg going beside the pylon. You can do that, but you're going to need me to resist.
No, it's a pylon.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, you won't. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll show this without a partner because that's probably how most of you are going to do it anyway. So what you need here is an angle of a wall where there is either a hall or a doorway or a pylon like this. So what Rad's doing here now is he's found his end range. He's found the range where he's in a really nice passive stretch. He's relaxing the tendon. It's a bit harder. So this is the problem with the wall. Rad can actually go way beyond vertical. So he would need an angled wall. Yeah, just come along here. The problem Rad's getting there is that his stretch, his passive stretch is far beyond 90 degrees. So the unassisted variation of this is only actually going to work if you're not as flexible, not as mobile. And most, what's that?
It's set up with a barbell or something like that.
Yeah, that's true actually. You could do it with a bar. Yeah, yeah. What Rad's saying there is you could set up with a barbell as my hand. So instead of my hand being here, it'd be a barbell on a rack and you're pushing against the barbell. So what we're going to do here is find Rad's end range. And then once we've got his end range, he's going to repeat that cycle. So the first thing he's going to do is contract against me, and I'm going to resist his force. The secret here is that he cannot move. It needs to be an immovable object. Now he's contracting his hip flexors, and he's pulling the leg towards himself. 3, 2, 1. Now he's going to relax for a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. And contract against me again, against that immovable object. This is by far the most effective Pnf stretch. He's now pulling the leg towards himself. Hold that for 5 to 10 seconds. It's very hard to do. To do that for 10 seconds, you will be working for it. And now he relaxes for 3, and now we go again. Repeat. Very good. Relax. And the contractions in both directions should be a minimum of 5 seconds, and you can take them up to 20 seconds depending on what your thirst for discomfort is. Because you should be in an extreme stretch position. So we'll just go over the process again. You're in an extreme stretch position, so it is not easy to do. It's difficult to do. Now, the one that we sort of skipped over, which was the isometric Pnf stretch, the differences here are this. In the isometric stretch, there is zero movement. It's just a contraction, and it's an isometric contraction. So think of, if I've got a dumbbell in my hand and I'm doing a bicep curl, that's a concentric contraction. If I lower the dumbbell back down, it is an eccentric contraction. If I just squeeze and tense with zero movement, that's an isometric contraction. So the Pnf stretch, the first one is you take the stretch you take the joint into a stretch, and then Rad contracts all of the muscles involved in that movement. So it would be his hamstrings, his quad, his hip flexor. He would just tense as hard as he can and then relax. And then he would repeat that cycle 3 or 4 times and then do the other side. That's an isometric Pnf stretch. Then we have hold relax, which is where Rad is going to hold the muscle in a concentric contraction against me, and there is allowed to be a little bit of concentric movement. So he's going to push, 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 and then relax for 3, and then we go back again. Push, 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 relax for 3, and then go back again. That's hold, relax. I'm allowing a concentric contraction. Then contract, relax is where he pushes against me as hard as he can, but it's an immovable object. Immovable object. Relax, and then we go a little bit further, and then he goes again, and we repeat that cycle. With each new contraction, with each new repetition, we should be able to go a little bit further. That's the idea, because the nervous system is now warming up to the concept of stretch. Now with the contract, relax with antagonist contraction, we do exactly the same thing. He pushes against me, hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, then we relax. Then he pulls the leg towards himself, creating that antagonist contraction. I'm exerting no force. I don't need to. He's already in a fully stretched position, so the leg won't move anywhere. Rest for 3 seconds, then we repeat the cycle again. So that's 4 of the most common, sorry I said that, 4. That's 4 of the most common Pnf stretches that we use here. And everything that we're going to show you from this point on has stemmed from those concepts, but it's been taken one step further to create hybrid variations of loading the muscle body in that stretch position. And it gets exciting from here, folks. There's some very, very new and what we believe revolutionary methods that we're using here that get amazing flexibility results. Let's go back into the studio. How does your leg feel, Rad? Are you lopsided now?
I feel completely lopsided now.
Completely lopsided. Now, very quickly to our audience.
My left arm's totally stretched and my right leg's totally stretched.
Very quickly to our audience who does subscribe and watches a fair bit of our content, you will have noticed this morning, we usually post a couple of exercise tutorial videos. And I'm very sorry to say that for the last 2 weeks we have failed to do so. We haven't failed because We're very, very excited to reveal that we've actually been working with our post-production company behind the scenes to produce a massive new program. It's a handstand masterclass designed to take an absolute beginner through to a beautiful straight line handstand, and it's a big, big program. It's taken a lot of work. We're very, very proud of it. I'm extra proud of it because I got to be the model.
Yeah, this is
some of it.
This is not just these are the 4 progressions that you use to get to a handstand. This is everything that you need to strengthen your hands, wrists, forearms, elbows, shoulders, to create shoulder mobility, wrist mobility, to strengthen and train the core and the pelvic tilt that you need, and then how to bail out of a handstand safely, learning how to cartwheel so that you can understand how to bail out and you don't have that fear. And then, of course, all of the progressions that are required. And it has
and it puts handstand work into a proper workout so that you're getting a
periodized program.
Full workout.
A periodized program that actually,
and
this is even if you just progress from one phase to the other without ever having to stay longer on one area, which we've never ever seen before.
Yeah.
People never just go like that. But even if you did, if you just went from one to the other, this would be about an 8 or 9 month program.
Yeah.
It's not like here's 6 weeks of work. It's
Yeah.
a full program.
Yeah, it's an
Periodized
epic program. It's called the Handstand Masterclass. It's going to be launching next week. We are super excited about this. So yeah, we do apologise for not getting exercise tutorials out, but we will be returning to that format soon. This has just been all-encompassing for us for the last probably the last month, and we're very proud to be coming to the finishing completion point this week. So we'll talk more about that towards the end of the week. Until tomorrow, we're doing progressive loaded mobility, PLM, and this is one of our favourites, guys. We really, really love this. We do it with everyone, and we do it all the time. It's addictive, and it's very, very effective. See you tomorrow. We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.